YouTube, it's me, it's the man who likes to orient, dropping a fresh VID for you today. And today, we aren't talking about anything that's WWE related. No, no, no. Something much more significant may be happening today, my friends. For today may mark the end of an era. Today is the Bound for Glory pay-per-view for Impact Wrestling. And it is significantly rumored that someone could be Vince, may be on the verge of purchasing said company. And if that happens, I will truly be sad. Because it will not only mean the closing of yet another federation in my lifetime, of which there have been way too many, but it means that Vince McMahon's titanical grip on the wrestling business will hereby be secured. Now look, I'm going to be real with you guys for just a second. I have been very critical of Impact Wrestling on this channel. However, it is because of this promotion that I have seen many great talents before they became big names. The list includes guys like Samoa Joe, guys like AJ Styles, guys like the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels, Eric Young, and the list goes on and on and on. And in fact, the Impact Wrestling promotion has provided me my favorite wrestling match of all time. That's right. If someone sat me down and said, Ranter, you gotta watch one wrestling match for the rest of your life. If you dare to call yourself a wrestling fan, you can't watch anything else. My choice would be the triple threat match between AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels. If you haven't seen it, I suggest looking for it on YouTube, or if YouTube's taken it down due to copyright infringement, find it somewhere and watch it. It is literally the finest exhibition of professional wrestling that I have ever seen, or more likely will ever see again in my lifetime. Now, do we really need to talk about why Impact Wrestling is going under? Okay, what this is going to turn into is kind of a Impact Wrestling retrospective, if you will. I'll keep it as factually based as I can, but I'm not going to lie, my opinions will sneak in at some point. This promotion was started by Jeff Jarrett's father, Jerry Jarrett. And he brought in Vince Russo since Jeff and him were very good friends at the time. And they needed a name to come up with for the company. And it was Russo's idea that the company be called TNA Wrestling. Now, he spun it so Jerry would accept by calling it Total Nonstop Action, but would later admit that in fact the exact purpose of the name is exactly what TNA stands for to the rest of us in the civilized world. But you didn't exactly need to be a rocket scientist, because if you go on TNA's YouTube page, you can watch the early episodes, and I would think that a cage dancer constantly shaking her assets, for lack of a better pun, would be an indication of what exactly TNA was supposed to mean in Vince Russo's tiny mind. So aside from that, and aside from the fact that they were only getting views from people who could afford the weekly pay-per-view shows that they were putting on at first when the company first began to exist, that was a big hurdle to overcome, but they did, bless their hearts, and they had a decent roster to start out. I mean, a perfect mixture of some guys you've heard of, like Ken Shamrock and Scott Hall, and bringing in X-Pac at points and Randy Savage at points, and a mixture of young talent like AJ Styles and the people I mentioned at the start of this video. All these guys made the company much, much better. Then Jarrett fell on hard times financial-wise while running the company, and they needed some financial backing to keep the doors open. Here came Dixie Carter. and she sat down and watched wrestling for the first time in her life, and she loved it. And she decided she could glam it up, or so she thought. And at the time, she had the backing of Panda Energy, a company her father started, and an almost limitless supply of money to keep it going. But eventually, anyone who invests in a business of any kind, I don't care what it is, eventually expects that a profit will begin to be a return. And that wasn't happening. So Dixie got cut off and was forced to make this project that she knew nothing about as far as running, make it into something that could actually make money. And as we can tell by the current situation, she's obviously failed. Oh, Bound for Glory may happen, and in fact, TNA may live on for a few weeks after this, but I don't look for the organization as a whole to exist far beyond a few weeks from tonight's pay-per-view. And that's truly sad because there is some talent on there. It was basically just like a copy of ECW minus the hardcore. The promotion was big enough and aware enough that people would notice the wrestlers they had, notice the ones that had talent, and then they would be scooped up by WWE, leaving the rosters in shambles. So they would replace it with young wrestlers looking to cut in their teeth. And you know what? There were some people who showed some actual talent, like Braxton Sutter's one. Um, the people who make up the tribunal, I can't remember their names, or rather, I can't pronounce them, so forgive me for that. Um, you know, and the biggest mistake I don't know, I'm used to saying WWE, forgive me. The biggest mistake that Impact Wrestling made, in my opinion, was when they attempted to go head to head against WWE on Monday night, which lasted about 2 weeks. Now think about this for just a second. This is when WWE was literally completely in the toilet. I mean, what WWE is doing now is leaps and bounds above what they were doing when TNA tried to rehash the Monday Night Wars. But it lasted 2 weeks, and they were ran off by PG Cena because they allowed Hogan to bring in all his buddies and pay them an extraordinarily high contract for talent that was well past its sell-by date. These things are just one chasm after another that led to the eventual demise of Impact Wrestling. And to their credit, they crawled out of almost every hole they got in thanks to an 11th hour Hail Mary save from someone. But I think they're out of get out of jail free cards, ladies and gentlemen. After tonight, we'll see a few more weeks of this federation, and then it'll be gone. And most likely, unless I hear something different between the recording of this video and the following days of Bound for Glory, Vince McMahon is considered to be the front runner for buying the company, which means TNA's video library will be put up on the network for people's viewing pleasure. So you'll have some good stuff to watch. That talent that is worthy of trying to earn a spot in WWE will be moved to NXT. Those that aren't will be shown the door, and TNA will once again go down as just another failed promotion who legitimately tried to compete with Vince. But why didn't this work, aside from all the other reasons I just gave? TNA was missing one key advantage that WCW had during its time in the Monday Night Wars, and that was the fact that they had a well-installed fan base, a strong video library from the NWA days, and not to mention they had the money that Dixie Carter had, but they also had a platform of networks that could support showing their shows days and weeks at a time. And TNA is just a fresh promotion that people happen to find on accident. You may like it, you may not. If you liked it, you managed to stick around, gritting your teeth at points like I did. Or if not, you're just like, I wonder what else is on. So that's the categorization of the failure of TNA in a nutshell. When they succeeded at things, they did very well. When they failed, oh god, they failed all the way at it. I tell you what, for all my fans and all my followers out there, post in your comment section below some of your favorite matches or memories from TNA. Post some of your least favorites memories of TNA and Impact Wrestling. Let's give this promotion the send off it deserves. Ranter's gonna get off the soapbox. I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.